Beloved, I come to you with an urgent word for this very hour. Tonight, August 20, 2025, is not just another date on the calendar. It is an appointed moment in heaven's timeline. The Spirit of God has declared that this is the night of reward. Every hidden prayer you whispered in the dark, every battle you fought in silence, every tear you shed when no one was watching, they were not forgotten. They were being recorded in eternity, and now the hour has come. The heavens are shifting. The decree is sealed, and the Father says, "You will be rewarded tonight." This is not a promise for tomorrow, not a word for some distant future. It is for this very night. What was withheld shall now be released. What was delayed shall suddenly manifest, and what the enemy thought he buried shall rise in glory. Tonight is not ordinary. It is prophetic, it is urgent, and it carries the weight of divine fulfillment. The appointed time of God's reward. There are moments in life that pass like ordinary hours, but then there are moments marked by eternity, where heaven collides with earth and destiny shifts in a single breath. Tonight, August 20, 2025, is one of those moments. It is not an accident that you are here listening, watching, or reading these words. It is not a coincidence that your spirit is stirred in this very season. This night has been written in the divine scrolls of heaven long before you ever faced the battles, betrayals, and silent seasons that tried to break you. Tonight is the appointed time of your reward. When God marks an hour as appointed, no power in hell, no scheme of man, no obstacle in the natural can stop it. What he seals, none can unseal. What he opens, no one can shut. The appointed time of God is not like man's schedule. We count days, we watch clocks, we measure by months and years, but God measures by fullness, by completion, by the alignment of heaven's decree with earth's readiness. That is why some promises seem delayed, why answers sometimes tarry. It is not because God has forgotten you, but because the seed of promise must reach maturity before it bursts forth. Tonight, that seed which has been buried in tears and watered with prayers is ready to break the soil. This is the night where heaven announces now. You may have asked, Lord, when? How long must I endure? How long must I wait for the fulfillment? The waiting was not punishment, it was preparation. The delay was not denial. It was divine alignment. Had the blessing come before the right hour, it would have broken you, or slipped through your fingers, or been stolen by those who were never meant to carry it. But now the Father says, it is the appointed time. Tonight is the hour where the reward meets the faithful, where the hidden becomes revealed, where the barren begins to birth. Think of Joseph, cast into prison for crimes he did not commit, betrayed by his brothers, forgotten by those he helped. For years he carried the weight of injustice, but there came a day, a single day, where the prison door opened, and in less than 24 hours he was seated in the palace. That was his appointed time. And so it shall be with you. The long years of struggle will meet a single night of divine reversal. The same God who lifted Joseph from chains to crown is the God who declares over you this night, you will be rewarded. Beloved, you must understand that an appointed time is not merely about receiving something you want. It is about stepping into what was written for you before the foundation of the world. It is the moment where promise becomes manifestation, where prophecy becomes reality, where hope transforms into testimony. Heaven is not casual with this word. It is urgent, it is weighty, it carries the seal of eternity. Tonight is not just a date, it is destiny. And what is this reward that is being spoken over you? It is not merely material, though provision will flow. It is not just physical, though healing shall spring forth. The reward of God is the fullness of his promise manifesting in every area of your life. It is vindication where you were shamed. It is honor where you were dishonored. It is peace where you battled storms. It is restoration where you suffered loss. It is abundance where you endured lack. The reward is not one-dimensional. It is holistic, overflowing, pressed down, shaken together, running over. The Lord says, "This night I break the cycle of waiting. This night I overturn the verdict of delay. This night I open what was locked, release what was bound, restore what was stolen." The appointed time carries the force of acceleration. What took years to build will suddenly be established. What seemed unreachable will suddenly be in your hands. Where you once crawled, you will now run. Where you once knocked with no answer, the doors will swing open of their own accord. For when the appointed time comes, the blessing does not need to be forced. It finds you. Lift your eyes and see it. Do not let weariness blind you. Do not let disappointment silence your faith. This is the night to posture your spirit in expectation. For just as the wise virgins kept their lamps burning, waiting for the bridegroom at midnight, so you must keep your faith alive at this midnight hour. The oil of hope must not run dry. For when the call goes forth, when the trumpet sounds, when the decree is released, those who are ready will enter in. And tonight, August 20, 2025, is such a midnight call. The bridegroom comes with reward in his hand. Some will mock this word. Some will doubt and say, "Nothing will change." But the word of the Lord is true whether men believe or not. The unbelief of others will not cancel the decree written over your life. When the Israelites doubted, Joshua and Caleb still entered the promised land. When the scoffers laughed at Noah, the rain still came. So it shall be tonight. The doubters may mock, but the faithful will feast. Child of God, do not measure your future by your past. Do not measure your tomorrow by the pain of yesterday. Tonight marks a turning point. You are crossing over from labor to reward, from testing to testimony, from promise to possession. The season of stretching was only to make room for the blessing. The pain you endured was the womb of the reward, and now the hour of birthing has come. Therefore, rise in faith, stand with expectation. Lift up your head, for your redemption draws near. Do not shrink back, do not fear, do not waver. Tonight, the appointed time has arrived. Tonight, the heavens declare over you reward. And when you awaken tomorrow, you will know that August 20, 2025 was not an ordinary date, but the appointed night when God remembered you, when heaven's calendar intersected your destiny, when the long-awaited promise became the undeniable reality. This is your night. This is your appointed time. This is the fulfillment of what was written. You will be rewarded tonight. The hidden season of testing that births your reward, every great reward in God, does not arrive without a hidden season of testing. Before the crown comes the cross. Before the throne comes the wilderness. Before the promise manifests in glory, it is forged in the fire of testing. Many of you have walked through nights that felt endless, valleys that seemed bottomless, and betrayals that cut so deep you wondered if you would ever rise again. But tonight, hear this urgent word: none of your suffering was wasted. The secret storms you endured, the silent tears you cried, the unseen battles you fought, these were not punishments, they were preparations. They were the refining fires shaping you for the very reward God has decreed for this hour. The hidden season of testing is often the most misunderstood part of a believer's journey. To the natural eye, it looks like abandonment. To the flesh, it feels like rejection. To the heart, it can even seem like God has forgotten. But in truth, the hidden season is when God is closest, working behind the veil, molding the vessel in silence, preparing it for a glory too weighty to be carried untested. If you had seen what was being written in heaven while you wept on earth, you would not have despised those nights. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. Think of David. Anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, he did not step directly into the throne. Instead, he entered years of exile, hiding in caves, running from Saul, misunderstood, betrayed by those he fought to protect. The promise was spoken, but the testing was necessary, for a throne without testing would not have made David a man after God's own heart. His hidden season was his proving ground, and when the appointed time came, no enemy, no rival, no throne keeper could stop his ascent. Beloved, your caves, your nights, your seasons of hiding have been your proving ground. You are being prepared for the reward that now stands before you. The hidden season is also the season where God separates. Many people cannot go where you are going. Many voices cannot enter the place God is bringing you. That is why betrayals came. That is why friends left. That is why circles broke apart. The pruning was painful, but it was necessary. Not everyone who celebrated you in the past was meant to witness your future. The reward was always yours, but the journey demanded purification. Do not curse the loss. It was a divine filter to remove what would have poisoned your promise. Some of you endured financial lack in your testing. Some endured health battles. Others endured rejection from family, from people you thought would stand with you forever. Yet in every wound, God was writing testimony. In every storm, he was anchoring your faith deeper. In every loss, he was preparing an overflow that would not only restore what was stolen, but multiply it. For the enemy thought the season of testing would destroy you, but it became the very soil in which your reward is rooted. The hidden season also reveals the authenticity of your faith. When the applause dies, when the crowd disperses, when no one sees you, what remains? Many can praise when blessings flow, but few can worship in silence. Yet you lifted hands when the heavens felt like brass. You prayed when answers did not come. You served when no one applauded, and heaven has recorded it all. The testing was your offering, your faith was your incense, your endurance was your worship. And now the God who sees in secret is ready to reward openly. Remember the words, those who sow in tears shall reap with joy. Every tear was a seed, every heartbreak was water upon the soil of destiny. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was actually building momentum for this release. And tonight, the Lord says, the testing is complete. The hidden season is ending. The reward is ready. Do not despise the scars you carry. They are proof you survived what others did not. They are evidence that the fire did not consume you, the flood did not drown you, the storm did not bury you. Those scars are the ink God used to write your testimony, and they will shine as jewels in the crown of your reward. What you thought disqualified you is the very thing that has qualified you. Beloved, take comfort in this truth. God tests what he trusts. If you were tested deeply, it is because heaven trusts you greatly. The weight of your calling demanded the weight of your testing. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. They are born in pressure. Gold is not refined in calm waters. It is purified in fire. And so you have been pressed, you have been crushed, you have been refined. But now the pressing is turning into oil, the crushing into fragrance, the refining into glory. Your hidden season was not your burial, it was your planting, and now the Lord says, the plant is breaking the soil, the seed is yielding fruit, the time of hiding is over. The very things you thought would kill you were the very things that birthed strength within you. The very silence that made you question God is the silence that has matured you to carry his voice. And the very battles that made you weep are the battles that have qualified you for the double portion reward. So tonight, lift your head. Do not weep as one who is forgotten. Do not walk as one who is forsaken. The hidden season was the womb of your reward, and now the child is being born, the promise is being delivered, the scroll is being unsealed. The pain you endured was the price for the promise, and now the Lord declares, I will repay, I will restore, I will reward. Yes, beloved, you are stepping out of the shadows into the spotlight of God's fulfillment. You are emerging from obscurity into manifestation. You are moving from testing into testimony, and all of heaven bears witness tonight. The hidden season is over, and the reward is here. So when you remember the nights of silence, remember them not with bitterness, but with gratitude, for those nights were holy. They were the nights God was shaping you for such a time as this. Tonight, your reward comes not in spite of your testing, but because of it. This is the divine reversal, the beauty for ashes, the joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. The hidden season gave birth to your visible victory. And you will testify, it was on August 20, 2025, that God remembered me. It was on that night that the hidden years bore fruit. It was on that night that my reward came. The hidden season is ending. The reward is beginning. This is your night. The shift in the spirit that releases your reward. There comes a moment in the life of every believer when what was fought in prayer, endured in silence, and believed by faith suddenly breaks into manifestation. That moment is called a shift in the spirit. Tonight, August 20, 2025, such a shift has been decreed. You may not see it yet with your natural eyes. You may not hear it yet with your natural ears, but the atmosphere has already changed. The decree has been spoken, the order has been released, and the shift has begun. What once resisted you will now yield. What once delayed you will now accelerate. What once opposed you will now bow, for the Spirit of the Lord says, this is the hour of release. This is the night of reward. A shift in the Spirit is not something man can orchestrate. It is not the result of human effort, connections, or strategy. It is the sudden move of heaven that alters the course of everything in the natural. One decree from God and the chains fall. One breath from his spirit and the doors swing wide. One whisper from his throne and the enemy's plots unravel. When heaven shifts, the earth must align, and tonight heaven has shifted in your favor. Consider Daniel. He prayed for 21 days, fasting and crying out, wondering why the answer had not come. Yet the angel told him, from the first day you prayed, your words were heard. The delay was not denial. It was warfare in the unseen realm. But then came the moment of breakthrough, when the resistance in the heavens was broken, and the answer was released. That was the shift in the spirit. And beloved, many of you have prayed for years, fasted through seasons, cried out with tears, and wondered if God heard you. Tonight the Lord declares, from the first day I heard you, but tonight is the appointed moment of release. The warfare has been broken, the blessing is loosed, the reward is delivered. The shift in the spirit is also the breaking of old cycles. For some of you, life has seemed like a revolving door, circles of loss, disappointment, betrayal, and failure repeating themselves over and over. But tonight that cycle ends. The Lord is cutting the cords of patterns that held you captive. Where there was repetition of sorrow, there shall now be repetition of joy. Where there was cycle of lack, there shall now be cycle of overflow. Where there was cycle of delay, there shall now be cycle of acceleration. The shift in the Spirit is rewriting the script of your destiny. Do not be deceived by what your natural eyes still see. The natural often lags behind the spiritual. Like clouds gathering before the rain, the evidence may look small at first, but the downpour is inevitable. Elijah saw only a small cloud the size of a man's hand, yet it carried a storm that ended a drought. Tonight you may only feel a stirring, a whisper, a flicker, but that flicker is the fire of revival, that whisper is the roar of reward, that stirring is the shaking of heaven. The shift in the Spirit guarantees that manifestation will follow. When the Spirit shifts, enemies are exposed, masks fall, plots crumble, the weapons formed against you lose their power. The very traps set for your destruction become the stage for your elevation. Think of Haman building gallows for Mordecai. He ended up hanging on them himself. Tonight, as the Spirit shifts, those who schemed against you will watch their plans backfire. Those who mocked your faith will watch your testimony unfold. Those who celebrated your pain will witness your reward. For the Lord says the shift is for vindication, the shift is for elevation, the shift is for reward. The shift in the Spirit also means acceleration. Things that would normally take years will now unfold in days. Doors that were locked for decades will suddenly open. Opportunities that once slipped through your hands will now find you. The Lord is compressing time, redeeming lost years, restoring wasted seasons. What the locusts devoured, what the enemy stole, what the years consumed, tonight in the shift they are being restored. You will say, how did it happen so fast? And the answer will be, the Spirit shifted it. Beloved, this is why your warfare has been so intense lately. The closer the shift, the harder the resistance. The enemy senses the coming breakthrough and tries to exhaust you before you enter. That is why the last battle felt unbearable. That is why the last betrayal stung so deeply. That is why the last storm came so suddenly. The enemy always attacks hardest on the eve of breakthrough. But hear this, the warfare is the proof of the shift. The storm only proves the rain is near. And tonight the Lord says the warfare is over. The reward is released. The shift has come. This is the hour to align your faith with heaven's decree. Do not speak death when God has spoken life. Do not confess defeat when the Spirit has declared victory. Your words must align with the shift, for life and death are in the power of the tongue, and what you decree in this hour will manifest in the days ahead. So open your mouth and declare, my season has shifted, my reward is here, my night has turned to day. Remember, beloved, the shift is not about small changes. It is about complete transformation. It is Jacob walking into the night as a deceiver, but wrestling until morning and arising as Israel, a prince who prevails with God. It is Ruth stepping into a field as a poor widow, but leaving that same field as the future bride of Boaz. It is Peter fishing all night in failure, but hauling in a net, breaking catch at the word of the Master. The shift in the Spirit does not just change circumstances, it changes identity, destiny, and future. Tonight, you are not just receiving a blessing. You are stepping into a new mantle, a new authority, a new chapter. So let your heart be filled with expectation. Let your spirit be charged with faith. For the shift in the Spirit is not coming, it has come, and as of this night, nothing will remain the same. Heaven has spoken, the decree is sealed, the angels are moving, the barriers are broken, and the path is clear. This is not the night of waiting, this is the night of receiving. The shift has tipped the scales, and now the reward is flowing. And when you look back, you will say, August 20, 2025 was the night everything changed. That was the night of the shift. That was the night of reward. The shift in the Spirit is here. The heavens have moved. The decree has been spoken. The reward is released. This is your hour. This is your night. The unmasking of enemies in the hour of reward, there is a mystery in the way God works. Before he releases the fullness of your reward, he exposes what has been hidden. Before the table is prepared, the enemies must be revealed. For years you have wondered why betrayal came from those you trusted, why opposition rose up without cause, why people smiled in your face while sharpening knives behind your back. Tonight, the Spirit of the Lord says, the time of pretending is over, the masks are falling, the unmasking of enemies has begun. The reward you are about to step into is too great to be carried in the presence of deception. Therefore, God has allowed the hidden intentions of hearts to be exposed. Those who said they loved you but despised your growth. Those who applauded you outwardly but secretly hoped for your downfall. This night marks the unveiling. For what has been concealed in the shadows is being dragged into the light. The Lord says, I will not allow you to sit at the table of promise, surrounded by Judas, without first revealing him. Remember, even Jesus, before the cross, before the resurrection, before the reward of salvation was manifested, had to sit at the table where Judas was unmasked. Judas walked with him, ate with him, kissed him with affection, yet carried betrayal in his heart. And when the hour came, the mask slipped, and his true spirit was revealed. Beloved, many of you have walked with Judases. You thought they were for you, yet they were waiting for your downfall. But tonight, as the spirit shifts, those masks are falling. You will no longer be deceived by flattering lips or false loyalty. Truth is being revealed. The unmasking of enemies is not to harm you, but to protect you. Imagine stepping into your reward surrounded by hands that only wish to steal it. Imagine carrying the crown while voices near you plot to tear it away. God in his mercy exposes before he elevates. That is why betrayal came first, so you would be purified of false alliances. That is why some doors closed, some relationships ended, some ties were severed. It was painful, but it was necessary. The Lord says, I had to separate you from what could not carry your future. I had to strip away those who would corrupt your reward. I had to show you who was with you and who was against you. And now, in this appointed hour, the exposure intensifies. Those who whispered against you in the dark will stumble into the light. Those who schemed behind your back will be caught by their own words. The plots that were hidden are being uncovered. The traps that were set are being revealed. Like Haman in the days of Esther, the enemies who built gallows for you will find themselves ensnared in their own devices. For the Lord says, the very schemes set against you shall boomerang back upon those who designed them. The unmasking also serves another purpose, vindication. Many of you were falsely accused, misjudged, slandered, and misunderstood. You tried to defend yourself, but your words fell on deaf ears. You kept silent, entrusting your reputation to God, and tonight he says, I will defend you, I will clear your name, I will reveal the truth. When enemies are unmasked, the lies collapse. When the mask falls, the truth shines. Those who doubted you will see they were deceived. Those who judged you will witness your vindication. Those who mocked your pain will watch your reward unfold. The unmasking is not only about people. It is also about spirits. Some of you were not just fighting humans, but unseen forces working through them. Spirits of envy, sabotage, jealousy, manipulation, and witchcraft disguise themselves as friends, mentors, or helpers. But tonight, the Lord tears off those disguises. What once operated in the shadows is being brought into plain sight. You will discern clearly, see sharply, and walk wisely. The fog of deception is lifting, and clarity is coming. Beloved, understand this. God will never allow your reward to fall into enemy hands. That is why the exposure comes now. Think of Joseph. His brothers betrayed him, sold him, hated him. But when his reward came, when he sat on the throne of Egypt, those same brothers had to bow before him and witness the fulfillment. The unmasking was part of the plan, for it turned betrayal into testimony. So it will be with you. The very ones who mocked your struggle will watch your elevation. The very ones who spoke against you will watch God's hand on you. They will not be able to deny what he has done. This is why you must not fear when the unmasking happens. Do not grieve over lost relationships. Do not mourn the ones who walked away. Do not cling to what God has removed. If their mask fell, it was never love. It was counterfeit. True covenant does not need disguise. Real loyalty does not need performance. If they left, they were not assigned to your destiny. If they betrayed, they were not qualified for your reward. Thank God for the exposure. It is protection, not rejection. And hear this, the unmasking is not only about removing enemies. It is about revealing allies. Just as masks fall from the false, veils are lifted from the true. In this season, God will reveal the ones who are genuinely for you, the ones who will walk with you in truth, the ones he has assigned to support your next chapter. They may not look like what you expected, but they carry the spirit of covenant. Where Judas is unmasked, Jonathan is revealed. Where Saul is removed, David is elevated. Where the false is stripped away, the true arises. Beloved, this is why tonight's reward will not only bless you, but also expose your enemies. The very magnitude of your elevation will unmask those who cannot celebrate you. Success reveals hearts, favor exposes intentions, reward uncovers true motives. Some will rejoice sincerely, while others will reveal their jealousy. Do not be shocked. Do not be moved. This is the work of God, the great unveiling. And as you step into this season, remember this promise. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. The unmasking is proof that the weapons are broken, the tongues silenced, the verdict overturned. God himself is your defender, your shield, your vindicator. So lift your head tonight. Do not look at who left. Look at who remains. Do not focus on who betrayed. Focus on who God has assigned. The unmasking has come, and it is your protection, your vindication, and your preparation for reward. And when you testify of this night, you will say, on August 20, 2025, God revealed the truth. He exposed the false, he removed the counterfeit, he unveiled the enemy, and in the same night he released my reward. The masks have fallen. The truth is revealed, the enemies are exposed, and your reward has come. The overflowing portion of God's reward, there is a measure that man gives, and there is a measure that God gives. Man gives with limits, restrictions, and conditions, but when God gives, he gives in abundance, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Beloved, tonight, August 20, 2025, the Spirit of the Lord declares, I am not giving you a fragment. I am releasing the overflowing portion. This is not the hour of survival. It is the hour of overflow. It is not about barely making it. It is about living in more than enough. What is being poured into your life tonight is beyond your expectation, beyond your imagination, beyond what you even prayed for. For the Lord says, I am the God of overflow, and your reward shall not be small, it shall overflow. The overflowing portion is the nature of God's blessing. From the beginning, he never created in scarcity. He spoke one word, and galaxies overflowed into existence. He opened his hand, and oceans filled, mountains rose, stars multiplied. When Jesus fed the 5,000, he did not give just enough for each to nibble. He multiplied bread and fish until there were 12 baskets left over. That is the overflowing portion. When he poured water into wine, it was not a small glass. It was 6 overflowing jars, the best wine, beyond what anyone imagined. When the Spirit was poured out in Acts, it was not a drop. It was an outpouring that shook nations. And tonight, that same overflow is your portion. You must understand, the reward God is releasing is not just about meeting your needs. It is about exceeding them. Needs are the floor, overflow is the ceiling. Needs sustain you, overflow establishes you. Needs help you survive, overflow empowers you to bless others. The Lord says, I am making you a vessel of overflow so that what I pour into you will pour through you. You will not only carry enough for yourself, you will carry enough to impact others. This is why your season of lack was so intense. The depth of your wilderness is the measure of your overflow. The greater the emptiness, the greater the filling. The greater the hunger, the greater the feast. The greater the thirst, the greater the river. Do not despise the emptiness you felt. It was making room for the abundance now being released. Tonight, the jar that felt empty is about to overflow. The cup that once seemed dry is about to run over. The storehouse that stood barren is about to burst forth. Beloved, overflow is not just material. It is spiritual, emotional, relational, and generational. Tonight, some of you will overflow with peace after years of turmoil. Some will overflow with joy after nights of mourning. Some will overflow with favor after doors of rejection. Some will overflow with restoration after seasons of loss. And some will overflow with generational blessing. Your children and your children's children will taste the fruit of this night. For the Lord says, the overflow I release is not temporary. It is eternal. It is generational. It is covenantal. The overflowing portion also brings visibility. A cup that is filled may go unnoticed, but a cup that overflows cannot be hidden. The overflow announces itself. Tonight your reward will not be silent. The overflow will testify for you. Those who doubted you will see it. Those who mocked you will witness it. Those who said nothing good would come from your life will stand in awe of the overflow. For the Lord is not blessing you in secret. He is blessing you in the presence of your enemies, and your overflow will speak louder than any argument. The overflow is also your defense. Scarcity makes you vulnerable, but abundance makes you untouchable. When God overflows you, you no longer beg from man, you bless man. You no longer chase opportunities, opportunities chase you. You no longer fear tomorrow bows before the overflow God has placed in your hands. The reward of this night is not fragile. It is fortified by overflow. Think of the psalmist's words, "My cup runs over." He did not say, "My cup is full." He said it runs over. The running over means it cannot be contained. And beloved, tonight you are stepping into blessings that cannot be contained. You will not have enough room to store them. Doors will open that you did not knock on. Answers will come that you did not expect. Breakthroughs will manifest that you did not calculate. For the Lord is saying, I am overwhelming you with goodness. I am flooding you with favor. I am pouring until you cannot contain it, because the overflow is my signature on your life. Do not fear the size of the overflow. Some of you feel unworthy, unprepared, or too broken to carry it. But God does not pour based on worthiness. He pours based on covenant. You were faithful in little, and now you are trusted with much. You endured testing, and now you are trusted with overflow. You stood in the wilderness, and now you are trusted with the promised land. Do not shrink back, beloved. Do not say, this is too much. The overflow is not too much. It is just enough for the calling placed on your life. The overflowing portion also means restoration beyond measure. Where you lost one, God will restore 7. Where the enemy stole a year, God will restore decades. Where relationships were broken, God will mend and multiply. Where opportunities were missed, God will open better ones. The reward of tonight does not just give back what was stolen. It gives back multiplied. For the Lord says, I am not a God of subtraction. I am the God of multiplication, and I will restore you in such abundance that your former pain will be forgotten in the flood of my blessing. Beloved, let this truth settle in your spirit. You were never called to live in scraps. You were never destined for crumbs. You are a child of the King, and the King does not give leftovers. He gives overflow. The banquet table of heaven is before you, and your seat is reserved. This night you do not eat fragments. You feast on fullness. And as the overflow comes, remember its purpose. It is not just for you to consume. It is for you to distribute. God blesses you to make you a blessing. The overflow in your life will become provision for others. The peace you receive will comfort others. The wisdom you carry will guide others. The resources poured into you will build, bless, and establish others. The overflow is not the end. It is the beginning of a legacy. So lift your eyes tonight and see the flood. Lift your hands and receive the abundance. Lift your voice and declare, my cup runs over. For the heavens have decreed it, the Spirit has shifted it, the enemies have been unmasked, and now the overflowing portion is released. And you will testify on August 20, 2025, my life changed. That was the night the cup overflowed. That was the night of more than enough. That was the night of the overflowing portion. The scarcity is over. The lack is broken. The waiting is done. The overflowing portion is here. This is your night.